Hello everyone, Keir Smith back here with another video. Now, as I've been immersing myself in and thoroughly enjoying the weird, wild and wonderful world of progressive rock, I was casting my mind back recently to those first songs that I fell in love with by the Big Six of prog, which is widely regarded as Pink Floyd, Yes, Genesis, Jethro Tull, King Crimson and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And I thought it would make an interesting video to share with you that first song that got me interested, that first song that got me hooked in these six bands. And so these six songs are the first songs by these bands that really stuck with me and made me want to go on and explore more. And of course, it's been like one big long prog treasure hunt ever since, and I'm not finished yet. So I'll start my list with Pink Floyd because that's where my prog journey began. I think I was 17 years old when I first bought The Dark Side of the Moon, and guess what? I didn't like it. I was hooked on the Beatles, basking in the glow of their Summer of Love, and to hear this dark record and these weighted themes, my ears were too young and too tender to handle it really. And then a good friend of mine insisted that I listen to the Wish You Were Here album and thought I may get on a little bit better with that, and handed me a copied tape cassette of that album. And so I listened to that album and I enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed my first listen of The Dark Side of the Moon. But the song that stuck with me, the first song that I really fell in love with by Pink Floyd was Have a Cigar. What a song. And Richard Wright especially leaves his mark all over this with his mini Moog and keyboards that provide the main hook for the song, I always think. Gilmour adds guitars with a rhythmic and funky feel to them, as well as playing some flashy lead parts too. Waters' cool bass line chugs along and Mason's drum fills perfect. But take a bow, Roy Harper, guest vocalist on the song, roaring out Waters' bitter and brilliant lyrics in his own unmistakable way. And as many before have pointed out, I too love the lyric. The band is just fantastic. That is really what I think. Oh, and by the way, which one's Pink? And from the first time hearing this song, I always thought to myself, how great is Gilmour's solo at the end, and stylistically how varied it is. And of course I've heard many great Gilmour guitar solos since, but this one's got to be in his top 10 I reckon. And I love the way that Wright's keyboard work washes over that solo too, and it complements it so well. It's such a great song. Pink Floyd here were really at the peak of their powers, I think, when they were all willing to pull together as a team. So yeah, Have a Cigar, that was the first song where I really thought, that's great. I think that Genesis were the second prog band that I got into, and again I would have been 16 or 17 years old at the time, and I remember seeing a video for this song on VH1, which was an old music channel in the mid-90s, and that song was yeah, Follow You, Follow Me. That circular delayed guitar part at the start of the song got my attention straight away, followed by Tony Banks' warm synth parts, and well, I've always loved Phil Collins' voice, his tone, his delivery. He's a great singer, and this song has that lovely, warm sing-along chorus. It's sentimental, sure, but it's done in the right way for me. And I always liked, and still do, Tony Banks' wiggly keyboard solo in the middle, and I really like the way that Phil Collins' voice fades out towards the end of the song. And it's not really very prog at all, is it? It's more a sweet, mellow, chart-friendly pop song, but a really good song nonetheless. I remember being in my mid-20s when I bought my first Yes album, and that was Fragile, and I remember taking it home, putting it on the CD player, and well, Roundabout opens the album, say no more. I'd never heard anything quite like this. Steve Howe's acoustic harmonics that opened the song were immediately interesting to me, and Chris Squire's thick, rumbling bass line were unlike anything I'd heard before from the bass guitar. Bill Bruford's skilled and shuffling drum patterns are so good, Rick Wakeman's wizardry on the keyboards, and of course John Anderson's soaring high register. It all sounded so good. And back then, and even now, to me, Yes have always sounded like five individuals all doing their own thing, and yet it all seems to come together perfectly to make this incredible band sound with otherworldly songs. And that instrumental passage between the 6 and 7 minute mark is so heavy, so great. So yes, Roundabout has always been a big favourite of mine, and I'm pretty sure it always will be. I've always been a curious listener. I'm always looking for what comes next and trying to find what else is good out there that I've not already heard. And I'd spend a lot of time reading music magazines and sifting through the greatest albums of all time list, and that led me to Aqualung. And I remember rushing out and buying that because I'd read good things about it, and again I took it home, put it on the CD player, and Aqualung, good riff. I love that riff, and I love the heavy drums too. It's a heavy track, and I always love that lyric, feeling like a dead dog. And then the song quietens down as it takes you through more of the story of the song. But that moment when the tempo shifts and the song gathers pace and that sizzling guitar solo comes in and the piano that goes over the top of it that's a bit higher in the mix, that is a truly scintillating performance by the band, a really special moment. And then the song comes back round to the first verse at the end to bring the song full circle. It's a song that definitely takes you on a journey, and it's a journey that begs to be revisited, and it has been many times since. I remember reading a review for Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery album, and this review said it was one of the great prog albums, so that was my next stop. I went and bought that, and this was a bit of a slow burner, and it wasn't until we got to Still You Turn Me On, and my ears immediately pricked up at Greg Lake's lovely 12-string acoustic arpeggio guitar pattern. And I remember smiling at what I perceived to be his rather posh vocal, but I was more impressed when I heard him sing the chorus line and that splodgy, war-infused guitar part kicks in. Elsewhere, Keith Emerson's understated harpsichord offers a nice counter melody, and Carl Palmer merely shakes a tambourine here and there. But all in, a super song, and yeah, even after all these years, it still turns me on. For King Crimson, I bought the In the Court of the Crimson King album first, probably because I'd read great things about it, and I remember playing it and liking it, not being blown away by it, and so I shelved that and I didn't buy anything by King Crimson for years. But probably as my love for prog grew, my curiosity would have got the better of me, and I ended up buying Lark's Tongues in Aspic next. And so the first King Crimson song, that first song that I really fell in love with, was I love that heavy, stomping, marching sound, and I really like John Wetton's vocalising at the start of the song. And the lyrics are really good too. Your admirers in the street got to hoot and stamp their feet in the heat of your physique as you twinkle by in moccasin sneakers. That's brilliant. And I really like that frazzled sound that Robert Fripp gets out of his guitar. That's infinitely interesting. And it's such a great composition. I mean, mid-song, it's like jazz free play. The song simply goes where it goes. And Bill Bruford is such a creative and expansive drummer. And here is a great example of texture and timing around Fripp's jittery soloing. And I've always loved the way that the song ends with that wicked cackle. I loved Easy Money then. I love it even more now. It's something left of field, entirely different, and it's a thoroughly engaging listen. So there you have it. They were the first 6 songs by these 6 truly special progressive rock bands that I fell in love with. Have a Cigar, Follow You, Follow Me, Roundabout, Aqualung, Still You Turn Me On, and Easy Money. So that's where it all began for me, and I'd love to know where it all began for you, so please let me know down in the comments section below. What were the first songs that you fell in love with by these 6 great bands? Other than that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for my next video sometime soon. Bye for now.